Here we go. Are you sure you're ready?
I am. Lord of mercy. Lord of mercy.
Good morning.
Dog.
I know, isn't it pretty? Oh, I've got mine.
Is that the...
That's not idiot.
Oh,
Oh, good morning.
good morning. Hello.
Good. Happy Saturday, Brenda.
Oh, happy Saturday, Cat.
That's how we introduce ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, I like that. No, that is cute. We just introduced ourselves.
We
don't have to,
did.
it doesn't have to be all extra. Hi.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me tell you. Don't kill me. I'm so discombobulated this morning. I've not had one single cup of coffee today.
But I don't feel like you always have to have coffee to, like you personally. I've known you not to have coffee and not been discombobulated.
I usually wake up. I usually have at least one, like very first thing.
Oh, okay. All right. I've had my coffee, but I also had NyQuil last night.
Oh, so you woke up feeling good?
I woke up. Did you happen to notice that the key challenge came out an hour later than normal?
I did.
That is, thank you. That's sponsored by NyQuil.
That is so funny.
Do you know what? You remember the commercial, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a little my own variation.
Oh God, I need to hear it.
It's the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, stuffy head, fever. How the hell did I get on my kitchen floor medicine?
Wait, did that really happen? Was that
No, it wasn't a thing. No, it wasn't a thing. No, I woke up in my bed. I wasn't on the kitchen floor.
I was going to ask for the story behind that, but that's hilarious.
Yeah, and I can't take credit for it. I heard a comedian say it, like, when I was really young, and I thought it was hilarious, so I've always said it.
No, you can take credit. They probably don't say it anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, like, literally, it was probably in the, like, 80s or something, you know, before you were born.
I was born in 81.
Oh, okay.
I might have been old enough to have a little, little something. Okay, so welcome to episode 41.
What?
Of The Drive. Right.
Oh, that's exciting.
It is. I just typed it in. It's 41.
Oh, so, like, as soon as I said what, were you like, uh-oh, is that right?
Right. Kat has this new what that's hilarious.
Is it new?
It is. Or you do it more frequently. I don't know, but it's freaking hilarious. We be like, what?
I don't know where that came from.
So I don't know. I get excited when you do it. So today we're talking about change. And I think we've maybe touched on change a little bit here and there. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we've ever done a whole entire show and change and how it affects us and how we can utilize our emotional intelligence to be a little bit more accepting and even appreciative of.
And resilient.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, and part of the reason it came up was because this week, on the Key Challenge, the theme, so what we've been doing on the Key Challenge, and for those of you that don't know, KEY stands for Know Your Truth, Evaluate Your Truth, and Yield to Your Truth.
Yes.
And we've been doing it for this whole, we're going to do it for the whole year. At first it started out with questions, and then those got a little intense.
Dude, let me tell you about these questions. Every time she tells a story, I have to tell the story about my questions. So Kat decided that she wanted her word of the year is consistency. So I'm like, okay, I will aid you as your friend and business partner in this. And she's like, I'm going to do it every single day. I'm going to send out a question. So I got excited and I would wake up and I go, yay, the question of the day. I can use this and I can journal. So the first thing I do is I would grab my phone and I'm like, this is going to be my journal item.
Typically at 6 a.m.
Yes. So this is going to be my journal item. And I would get a question and I'm like, whoo. So it's a little heavy. It's a heavy question there. And it's like,
we're
how
good,
can
right?
you...
We could, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's like, how can you use the trauma of your past to aid you?
It wasn't quite that bad. It wasn't quite that bad. But I did realize that some of the questions were a little deep.
Dude,
so
they were so deep.
And
so
they were getting hard to come up with too.
Dude, I started avoiding your questions of the day. Like, I wouldn't even look at my phone. I would be like, you know what? I'm going to pray. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to have my coffee. I'm like, just give me a minute to prepare for this question of the day. So we talked about that, and she decided to change it. So tell them the new.
Yeah, so now it's a quote, and then there's usually a question in the verbiage part of it that comes with it. So what's coming up for you? How does this resonate with you? Or, just some questions around it. So that's working out really well. And the theme thing, I like it. It's a little tougher for me, but that's all right.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it tough to find the
Just
quotes,
under Brenda.
Mm-hmm.
We're at Starbucks.
Sorry, hang on 1 second. But yeah, so is it tougher
Hi,
to
how's it
come
going
up?
today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right. What can I get started for you today?
We have a mobile order under Brenda with
Under
a B.
Brenda?
Yes.
With the B, what else is it going to be with?
I don't know, but I always say
We
cat
got
with
a
a K.
grande ristretto Americano with 5 cups of sugar-free vanilla and heavy cream, and then
La,
a
la, la,
grande
la, la, la,
Americano,
la.
long shot, 5 cups of sugar-free vanilla and heavy cream. Is that correct?
That's right.
Fantastic. Josh, we'll see you up at the window with those.
Yay, Josh. Okay.
Sorry, that usually doesn't take that long. It's usually a quick. So you have 2 Americanos. Yeah, we do. Thank you. We should do what Ricky told us to do.
Oh, yeah. What are we...
Hey, can we ask you a really quick question?
Yeah, no problem.
What do you think about change?
I'm sorry?
What do you think about
Change,
change?
like in
When
life
things
in general.
change in your life, how do you accept change?
I think it really depends on the situation. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's kind of annoying. I mean,
That's a
it's
good
gonna
answer.
happen No matter what, though.
We're live
We're
on a
live
show,
on Facebook.
so...
We have a. So he said sometimes it's good, sometimes it's annoying.
Sometimes it's annoying. I like that. You're Josh, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
That was
Sorry about
that's
that.
all right. That's Josh.
that's
Thank you,
Josh at Starbucks. He said sometimes it's good and sometimes it's annoying.
Oh.
This is yours.
Oh, he's gonna get us napkins. That means there are gonna be napkins in my glove
Yeah,
box for you.
sorry about
Thank you. No, you're good. Bye, Josh. Have a good day.
So
now
we
there's
did,
napkins
we
for
did
you.
it, Ricky. How cool was that?
Yay! So that's
It's
what we'll
so
have to
funny
do from now on.
And he said it as I was saying it. Like, we should do what Ricky said. And he was like, ask the Starbucks worker about change.
Yes, I love it. Oh, by the way, we need to plug that show. We were on a show last week. I cannot believe what has happened in a week. Can you I was just thinking last Saturday, I was all feeling a little from our 330 to go ventures,
Oh,
and I was
right.
like, that was just last week. That feels like a month ago.
That was.
This has been a long week.
So last week we did HR Talk with Ricky and
Why is this
Jim.
so good? This
Isn't
is
that
yours. Oh no, it's not.
No, it's yours. We traded.
What did you do different than I do? I don't know, but you're ordering it from now on. I gotta look at what you're ordering. Oh, this is so good.
You don't order
You're
it?
gonna pull, I don't know what's different, but it's good.
Do you get 5 pumps of the sugar-free
I don't think
vanilla?
I do. I think I get 4.
No, it's 5. 5 is the perfect number. 6 is too many. 4 is not enough.
I do 4, I think.
Sorry.
We might have to pull over. This is really good.
We gotta pull
first
over
sip.
because your Starbucks coffee is too good. What?
Yeah, we're morphing into each other.
Right. Okay, we are doing a show here.
It's just so good. Sometimes if you stick your tongue out, do you taste things better?
You do, because you get the air.
Yeah.
So your taste buds, it does something.
But I just realized I was on camera and I was like,
Come on. Ricky said that was awesome. Now he's going to tell his family when he's get home, which is going to start a conversation about something big that they all need to change, all because we asked. That's kind of cool.
oh, yay.
Yeah, because he's like, these weird chicks were on this Facebook show that we should have told him the name of the show. Because then he'd have been like, they were filming a show called The Drive, and
Yeah, that's what we should have done.
we dropped the ball, but we're getting it. That was the first time.
Yeah, we're not pros like you, Ricky. Ricky and JC. So HR Talk is such a fun show. I think whether you're in HR or not.
I agree.
And they're hilarious. I still feel like they're the male version of us.
They are like us. It's crazy.
Because they're
These guys are awesome.
just feels naughty. Oh, you know what? You did ristretto, not long shot.
I did long shot on yours. I did ristretto on mine.
What? You like yours different? Look, I did one again.
How dare I like my coffee differently?
I get you long shot every week.
Yeah, because it's easier. I prefer ristretto to long shot.
You do. I love long shot.
Mm.
Wow.
I think it was.
It's probably not in
okay,
there.
There we
well
go.
enough. Okay.
Okay.
All
So
right.
we're back now.
We are.
We don't know if y'all could see any of all of that was happening when we got kicked off. If you could dismiss it, I could consider that to be the drive behind the scenes. But no, the phone fell.
It's B-roll.
This has never happened, and the phone fell off the thingy-majacket. Sorry.
All right, we should start talking about change.
Okay, change. Are you for it or against it?
I am all for change. I actually really, really, really like change. I am not good. That's why I had to make my word of the year consistency, because I have to strive for consistency. I love novelty. I love when things change. I get really bored with routines very, very quickly, but I know that routines are important. So, that's a whole different topic. But no, I love, love, love change. My favorite thing about living in Ohio is the change of the seasons.
What? Sorry.
See?
Stealing your what? But no.
You can steal it. It's fun.
I resist change. Well, okay. I don't anymore. I don't resist it anymore, but I definitely don't love it. I've just come to a place to where I can seek out the good in change. I have to seek it. I don't automatically see it. It's not like, oh, great, this is changing. No. My first initial reaction is I kind of tense up. I get a little tense. And then I'm like, okay, what is the good in this? Why is this changing? So I have to ask myself some questions when things change.
So let's back it up from like asking yourself questions about why is it good? Why is it? So let me ask, what comes up for you with change? Like when somebody is, and I don't know if you want to come up with like a specific situation that...
I'm just a control freak, and I like to know what's happening. Do you know what I mean? I like to know what's happening, and when something is consistent and it's a certain way, I know that I can expect it to be that way. And to me, change throws a monkey wrench in, and I'm no longer in control, and I have to kind of just flow.
Okay. And I'm just like total free spirit,
Right.
like born in the 60s. I was not born in the 60s.
I was going to say you were not born. We just had this talk. She was talking about like Woodstock or something.
I went to
like,
Woodstock in the 90s, and I said Woodstock,
I didn't even
and she's
know
like...
there were different Woodstock.
Yeah, don't you remember there were mud people in, I don't remember when that was, but there were mud people one year, and then the last one there was looting. That was the one I was at, where they were looting. I feel like I said it wrong. Looting.
They were looting. But no, so it's always been a bit of a struggle, and I used to resist it. So not only did I not like it, but I would resist it at all costs and try to keep things the same. But of course, that's not the way of things. And then as I started to develop, like you said, that resiliency, now I can even embrace it in some cases after I do that initial assessment of why.
So you still kind of have the Amy G goes,
yes.
No, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Okay.
Absolutely.
See, I wonder what that, I mean, I know it's just a little bit, obviously different wiring, but I feel like maybe my ABG's like stoned.
That is so funny. So you, by stoned.
Okay, sorry. Maybe my Amy G's just like this could be fun.
Oh, I would rather have that.
So for those of you who don't know, that haven't followed, I think we brought Amy G up, was it last week?
Last week or the week before.
Okay, so Amy G is our amygdala, and the amygdala is the part of the brain that does the fight, flight, or freeze. So it's the knee-jerk reaction.
It's where the emotions are stored.
Yeah, so when something happens very quickly, your knee-jerk reaction is your amygdala, or an amygdala hijack. So maybe my Amy G's sleeping when change comes around.
Yeah. So amygdala, we have it. It's Amy G Dalla. So we just call her Amy G. Yeah. Because she is a G. She really is.
Yeah, so she's the part of the brain
it helps us to kind of think of her as a person, to separate ourselves from that emotional part. So I don't know. I think your Amy G, I think she's just intrigued by change, whereas my Amy, she's afraid of it. It makes her nervous. So what I would probably have to do is go back and figure out, and I probably know what it was, know what happened in my past that
therapy.
Symbolizes change for me. Right.
That's therapy. So we don't want to do that.
Right? No, I'm not going to do it here now. But it clicked in my head as soon as I said it. So I know
with your therapist, do this.
I'm gonna answer Ricky's question because it'll help where we're going. He said, "How do you help people who get over the anxiety of change?" So we would help people get around the anxiety of change. So when I talk about asking myself the questions, about what is coming up for me when this is happening. How can I think about this in a different way? How can this change be good? Those are the type of questions that we would guide somebody to ask as it pertains to change and any anxiety that they might be having. What I just started talking about, digging in and figuring out at what point in my past change started to mean a bad thing for me, we would send somebody to a therapist and say, talk to your therapist about that.
And that's a great question, Ricky, because with the STEER model, what we do, we literally call situations potholes, and we found an actual therapist that wrote an article about this, and he called them potholes. And he talked about steering around them.
Right.
We should contact him. But anyway, so
we should.
We talk about steering around the pothole. A therapist will help you dig in and repair that pothole.
Right.
We just steer around it. So we use the STEER model to
steer around it.
To steer around it.
So that makes it's like we can help and get you through this, you know what I mean, the surface of it. And we've also talked about how as we kind of grow in this place, there are some things that we have identified that, no, I'm comfortable just steering around that. I don't necessarily need to dig in and repair it. So It's really kind of a personal, not personal preference, because I think a lot of times we wouldn't prefer to have to dig into a lot of that stuff, but just knowing in your life personally what would serve you best as far as to whether or not you need to continue to just drive around or whether you need to dig in and repair.
Yeah. And we are strong advocates of therapy and digging in and repairing those potholes. We just know we stay in our lane.
Right. We're not only strong advocates of therapy, we're also
in therapy.
That's ridiculous.
That's right. Yes. Yep. True story.
So the first quote that came up in the key challenge was, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, which is now my most favorite quote of all time, like ever.
Are you serious?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that warms the cockles of my heart.
Oh, not the cockles.
Student driver. Did you see that student driver
just
like swerve over?
They're like, no, get over there.
You fail.
Go.
You fail.
You fail, lady.
As a lady?
Oh, I don't know.
I just thought it was a kid.
The way
I
it was driving, it was a lady. She was a girl. that was so sexist.
It was.
How dare I?
All right, so
She was a lady driver.
So that's your favorite quote.
That is my favorite quote ever, and it's because we always talk about STEER, and I know when people but STEER literally changed my life, and to me, this personifies everything that STEER is. Finding a way to change things by looking at them differently, or thinking about them differently. But the situations that I experienced in my life did not change. Nothing changed about them. They're still there. They're still happening. But being able to look at them differently changes my outlook on them. Right. So
you went from stressed to blessed, and the only thing you changed was your mind.
Who said that?
Me. I did. I said it.
Lariah said change is like the faith cardio for me. I don't like it, but I need it. That is so good. Awesome. It is.
That's awesome.
Faith cardio. Change. Wow, Lariah, that is so good.
Love it.
That's true. What do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, it's, to me, that's the that is everything that STEER is all about. When you change, and for me, that literally was, I talk about a lot of pivotal moments that I had, but it was that mowing the lawn that day that I'm like, how can I change how I'm thinking about this? Mm-hmm. So I still mowed the lawn. I still didn't enjoy it, but I was no longer miserable and angry and frustrated. I'm like, oh, right. So I could just change how I think about it. I still have to do it.
Right.
And that's really where STEER started, was on my lawn in front of my white picket fence.
Mowing your dirt.
Mowing my dirt.
One thing that you asked this week was, when did a storm come through for you that cleared your path for something even better? And I think that's one of those questions that you can ask yourself when it comes to trying to accept change or clear out that anxiety. Like, when was the time that I can remember that something changed and things were better for that change?
So was that the quote or was that the question?
That was the question.
Oh, that went with which?
That went with, not all storms are meant to disrupt. Some are meant to clear a path.
Okay. So, yeah, and let me just go back a little bit, because I don't really explain a whole lot. I got to make it so it fits on Twitter, too.
Right.
So, and still have all the hashtags and all that stuff. So, on that, what I want people to kind of do is go, how can I how can I look at this current situation and know that what I've been through in the past, like, I can get through it. And usually that's a really good way for people to start to steer stuff, because we have this, our brain has a tendency to only be like in whatever, when we're in the eye of the storm, that's all we can see.
Ooh, okay.
So we forget, because when you're in the eye of the storm, you're surrounded by the storm.
Right.
So you forget that it
You
passes.
better come through, honey. You is preaching, girl.
I know. Well, I said it to someone who literally was in Nashville.
Right.
Someone
Literally,
we know,
in the
yes,
storm.
yeah, she
Okay.
was, and she's experiencing some things,
Mm-hmm.
and and she actually answered that question, and she said, I've been through a lot, and I'm like, and you'll get through this too, but right now you're in the messy middle,
Right.
and it's hard to see when you're in the middle of that. It really is, because you're surrounded by it.
And
Sorry, I just said the same thing twice.
Oh no, it's good, but it sounds cliche, but we still have to do this, our show on cliches and why they are helpful and why they actually make sense.
Yeah.
We keep forgetting to do that. But it sounds cliche, but something snaps when I think I've already survived 100% of my worst days. I've already gotten through 100% of them. Like, there's no, you know what I mean? Like, why are you doing that?
I don't know. I feel like
Move,
he's
truck,
racist.
sir. You say you feel like he's racist.
I do. I'm gonna win.
So,
New York.
hang on. This is not... I'm sorry. I'm going back and forth from the quotes to the page. Jim said, speaking of potholes and change, I think a pothole just moved the camera and the view changed. I only have half of Brenda. Oh, my God. Thanks, Jim. He needs to be our camera guy. I'm a
How would he be our camera guy and you're like sit in there?
I don't know. It made sense when I said it. Just roll with it.
Okay. Warm. Are you warm, or
It's
is it?
hot.
Do I have a fever?
No, it's hot. I think you'd be cold if you had a fever.
Oh.
You're cold when you feel cold, but
No.
you are warm.
Oh.
No?
No, my eyes burn when I have a fever. Dude, what is he doing? Oh, I better.
He racing you.
He is racing me. All right, I'm gonna set the cruise, so I'm going the right. Okay. All right. So what's next?
Sometimes change isn't loud and disruptive. Sometimes it's a quiet but persistent metamorphosis happening. What quiet changes are happening in you right now? And the quote is, appreciate where you are in your journey. Every season has a purpose. That's another cliche that most people hate.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think sometimes there are kind of quiet changes that happen, and like, just for me, probably because of the fact that I do like change and I like to meditate and all that. So I do like to like sit in whatever's happening and reflect in the current moment. Like what's quietly shifting in me. And I was working on some stuff these last couple of weeks of, where do I quote unquote belong? I mean, I think we belong everywhere, we belong nowhere.
Right.
Maya Angelou. But I think that
Gotta come through with the quote.
yeah, well,
It ain't even Black History Month.
I know, right? And good thing I didn't be like the color purple, y'all.
That is so funny. We said a movie quote a few weeks ago, and Kat looked into the camera and she was like, "That was from The Color Purple, y'all." It wasn't. It wasn't from The Color Purple. It was from them. It was hilarious. It made my day. But
You gave me my white card back.
No, I'm taking your white card. You can have my black card. Trade. We're trading cards.
All right. So yeah. So quiet. What do you think about the whole quiet thing? The quiet changes.
I don't know if any changes are quiet. And it's because of my reticular activating system. I'm constantly looking for the change. So I'm always on guard. Like, what is it? What's going on? What's happening over there?
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm always on guard for the changes. So even my quiet changes are really loud because either I'm manifesting them because but not in a bad way. You know what I mean?
Right,
like even the
no.
good stuff. But I'm always kind of quietly looking for what's moving in what way, because that helps me in that place of acceptance.
Okay. So the reticular activating system is the part of your brain that is scanning your environment to prove whatever you're thinking is right.
Right.
So it's, think of it as, to me, I feel like it's like, you notice I always do that when I say it.
You do that. I never
so
noticed
it's like,
that.
looking all the way around and go, oh, yep, that's something I recognize. That must be true.
Right.
So it can keep us stuck.
It can.
So we have to be aware that we're doing that.
And I think that is part of what, so I shared with Kat like this week that one thing that came up for me in my meditation a couple of nights ago was that I am struggling between acceptance and what is the other word that I keep losing?
Resistant, not resistance,
No.
but avoidance.
Yes, between acceptance and avoidance. And I think that a lot of that has to do with this change factor. And I think inadvertently, when I thought about it last night and meditated on it, I think it was this week of quotes that kind of brought that up for me.
Okay.
So realizing that that avoidance can be like the dark side, the shadow side of acceptance. And when we think about growth and self-awareness and all of that stuff, we did a whole show on the dark side of self-awareness. And I believe that avoidance is the dark side of acceptance. And I have to be very careful that I'm not avoiding dealing with things in the name of acceptance. Like, oh, well, I accept that for it being, it is what it is. But that doesn't mean that I don't have to do the work that's required to,
Right.
and I forget why I went into all of that, but it was
what came up for you. But I also think that, I was going to say something about the, like the acceptance piece of it. I think sometimes we can get sometimes I can get so go with the flow that I am a little too zened out, a little too blissed out all the time, and I'm not taking action. I'm not going.
Right, and
so
I think
it's like
that's
it's
what
the
I mean.
balance. It's the
Right.
balance of everything, right? Like it's and I think sometimes we're going to be off balance on purpose. That's
But
okay.
I think that was I'm telling you, that whole thing that you told me and we kind of talked about, and we'll kind of go into a little bit at some point, like the whole balance and harmony, like you know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
yeah.
Looking for harmony instead of balance, because things won't necessarily always be balanced, but that whole off balance on purpose speaks to harmony. So that has been on my mind a whole lot too. So figuring out all of that stuff in my head, and just this being proof that you never stop doing the work. Like you're always still
Right.
doing the work. We teach these things and we're still always doing the work. So that's what this week about change keeps bringing up for me.
And I think you level up each time, though. Do you know what I mean?
agree.
Like, I think there's, whether it's, however you want to look at it. For me, it's like a higher level of consciousness, and I don't want to get like too woo-woo with it, but it really does. I feel, honestly, what happens with it is I'm more resilient with
Right.
every level up. It's a quicker bounce back with a
agree.
setback.
Yes, I agree. The next one was, if you focus on results, you won't change. If you focus on change, you will get results.
What'd you think of that one?
I wanted to hear what you, I know what I think about it, but I wanted to know where you were coming from.
So what was the question then that went with that?
It just says, focus on the outcome you want to achieve. Now write down what needs to change for that to happen.
Okay, and read the quote again for me. I'm sorry. I did all this, and but I did it at 5 o'clock in the morning and probably on NyQuil. So no, I don't know. Toward the end of the week, it was rough. I was not feeling so well. So
If you focus on results, you won't change. If you focus on change, you will get results.
okay. So for me, seriously, what I was thinking was the fact that I am increasing my workout routine and things. So for me, that is getting to the gym on a regular basis. That's the change. I know what the results I want to be, but I need to implement a certain routine and steps and all that to get that change. And that a lot of that is because routines and those things are hard for me. So I need to focus on, I need to focus on that part so I can get the outcome.
So for me, this kind of spoke to making sure I'm doing the right things for the right reasons. Because it's possible to do the right things for the wrong reasons. And if your intent is focused on the right things, like you said, being focused on the actual change, like what's the intent behind my change, then the results will naturally follow. Do you know what I mean? So it's what you said, but it's a different angle.
Yeah. It's a different lens.
Right. Ooh, yeah. It's a totally different lens, but it still means the same thing. And for me, it spoke life into my intentionality. Me being more mindful of what my intentions are and knowing that as long as my intentions are aligned for the right reason, that I'll get the results that I want to see.
Okay.
That is so cool, though. To
Yeah.
have that same quote. And like I said, I think we arrived at the same place. We just took different roads.
Yeah, that's all right. That's okay. And even if we don't arrive at the same place, that's okay too. Do you know what I mean? Well, I'm saying the quote doesn't have to mean the same thing for every person.
No, I don't think it has to mean the same thing, but I don't know.
It's okay.
That's a good.
It's okay if we're in different places.
I agree with that, but I think different places, like, I think people still have to get it. Do you know what I mean? Like, you still have to get it. Or maybe it's like art, where it just means different things to different people. So I don't know.
I feel like the last one.
Because this is what I believe about art. Because people say, oh, it's like whatever is in the eyes of the viewer and whatever you view. And it's like, and I get that, and that makes sense too. But the creator of this portrait had a specific intent. And I think it's important that you know what the intent is, even if you draw a different conclusion from it. So
I don't.
I think it's that whole knowing where you've been to know where you're going, or that whole thing. So it's important for me. So I understand why it's not important for some people, but it's important for me.
Yep.
The next one is what is happening right now that is out of your control, that you could think differently about to bring peace in your life. And the quote with that was, the best way to control change around you is to control change within you.
Oh, yeah. I got to tell you about that morning. I literally I'm glad we're talking about this, because, like, no one knows that I'm experiencing this stuff every morning. Like, I have a whole, like, life that's happening in the morning all by myself.
Whole life that's happening.
Yeah. So, that I was ready to send it out, and I'm telling you, God was like, boop, different quote.
Woo!
And I had it done, ready, saved, ready to go, and I had to redo it.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
So what do you think that was about?
Well, it was really, I mean, I don't know. Somebody needed to hear it. Like, this is all through me. This is not, like, I don't have any ulterior motives other than, like, literally my prayer every day is asking God's light to come through me and go to other people in the way He needs it.
So
you know what I mean? So
that's for somebody.
Yeah. So, and I think that's that way every day. But this one specifically, I mean, I don't know what it was, but what it means to me is, read it again.
That's freaking hilarious. The best way, I'm sorry, that was funny. The best way to control change around you is to control change within you.
Yeah. So to me, that's all about resiliency. I mean, we have storms that are happening around us, people that are, sick or, making poor choices or whatever it is that they're doing. And the only thing we can do is stay consistent and resilient and I'll go as far as saying zen in what's happening in our internal dialogue. I want to have a conversation with you about that too, because somebody else called it monologue. I saw it twice this week, monologue, and we say dialogue. Anyway, so internally what you're saying to yourself, that is what needs to stay consistent.
I already like dialogue better, but I understand why some people say monologue.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that, because it could get a little woo-woo.
Yeah.
For me it could.
Yeah.
That's funny. The reason why this hits home for me, and I don't even know that I really looked at it the day that this one came through, or like really, I think this might have been one that I was maybe doing something else, or I don't know. But I just did the module 3 with the church and played the video, the video that we have in module 3, and he talks about an old African proverb that says something about when there is no enemy within you, the enemy outside, basically the enemy outside can't win if you don't have an internal, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So this quote again speaks to that whole figuring out what's going on the inside of us, so that we can understand or defeat or battle or whatever it is that we need to do with what's going on outside of us, knowing that we have to do the inner work first.
Yeah. So yeah,
that kind of hits home for me, and I want to watch that video again. I'll post the video.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a really, really good one.
It is. So the next one said, this by far is the most famous change quote, and it is, what comes up for you when you read this? Be the change you want to see in the world.
Yeah, so for me, be the change that you want to see in the world. The first thing that pops up is everybody thinks Gandhi said it, and apparently it was like misquoted by Gandhi. But
really,
I don't know. As I was doing some research on it, research.
I found out about the quote that we do that people are now saying that it wasn't Lao Tzu.
Oh,
that
really?
If you're living in the past, living in the present, yeah. There's a lot of debate about that.
Yeah. So someone said it, and we retweeted it. So, well, the first thing that comes up for me is, this is so weird, but I had a necklace that said "Be the Change." That's all it said. And when I would wear it, it was when the worst job I worked at, I would wear it and I would feel better. And I didn't even notice. I'd be like, oh, I had the necklace on. But anyway, that's what comes up for me when I hear that. But it was, to me, it is like, it's our responsibility to project what it is we wish other people would project. Like, it's
absolutely.
I think so many are like, you know, oh, this world is such a hateful place. You're hateful, and you're hateful, and
you suck.
Right. Yeah,
because
right.
you're hateful.
And it's like, aren't you kind of being hateful by saying you're hateful? Like,
yeah.
So, it's like, you know, the thing that I struggle with. I'm judgmental of judgmental people.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
that is
you
my
talk
biggest
about that.
struggle in life. And
that is so funny.
Yeah, it's really hard
I'm
for
judging
me.
you for judging people.
I do, and I don't like it about myself. And I sometimes it ebbs and flows where I'm like, okay, I get it. That's their lens. And,
Right.
You know, so
that lens thing has helped me tremendously.
So just so people know too about the lens, I'm actually going to be doing a talk for Disrupt HR in Lansing, and it's all about viewing through a lens. So we'll talk more about it after because it's going to be. I'm going to disrupt a little bit.
Oh yeah, I'm excited about that.
I'm too.
I think I was trying to see if I could come. I don't know, but I'm excited to see how it goes and to hear how it goes if I can't make it. But no, for me, the same thing comes up with this quote, and I always think about how, like, before I came into this kind of whole awakening space, like, I was a very much, whatever kind of energy you give me, I'm giving back to you, because I don't have, you know what I mean? I don't have time to waste my good on people, do you know what I mean, who didn't want to be good. But then I started to realize, again, in this whole process, even something as simple as going to a grocery store and somebody is being, you know what I mean, rude or having I have found that if I kind of look and I go, hey, are you okay? You seem like you're having a really bad day. I hope everything goes okay and I hope you feel better. I have had girls like bust out crying like, oh my God, thank you so much. And it's like, because I know what that's like to just feel so whatever inside and to have to just live life. Like, I'm having a bad day. I don't want to have to come to work today.
Right.
I don't feel good or whatever is happening. And it made me want to change my lens through and realize what these people might be dealing with. Nobody wants to just be angry or in a bad mood. And I'm like, maybe they just need to be loved on a little bit. So I'm very mindful of people who are projecting anger or projecting, and also, like you always say, anger is fear's bodyguard. So now I can have empathy for them and be like, geez, I wonder what they're afraid of. I wonder what they're dealing with. I wonder what they're going through. And it makes me, and some people can't stand me even more for it. I've had people go, shut up and leave me alone. Don't worry about what but I've had more people respond in a way to where it was clear that they needed this on this day.
Yeah,
and
it's like their armor just kind of falls away. Because we don't, I mean, the world isn't safe, really. We kind of have to have that armor up and make sure, you know, and probably more for other, you know, from other, never mind.
And I used to be afraid to say it. I would feel led to say it. And I came to a point to where I was like, I feel like I'm blocking my own blessings by not doing what God is leading me to do. So I would be like, I would feel weird, like to just walk up to somebody and be like, are you okay? But I'm like, if I feel led to do it, I'm gonna do it. And I don't know, it makes a difference, and you can visibly see it make a difference. And I'd rather have that impact on people than the impact that I was leaving before, where I'm just as whatever as they are because I'm reflecting their same energy. So that's what made me want to be the change.
I like that a lot.
It's hard sometimes, because sometimes I'm having a bad day too, and I'm like, look, honey, I don't have time to be trying to make you feel better. I'm having a bad day. You smile at me because you're getting paid to smile. But you know, I rein it in, and I steer it in the moment. You did, and then you
steered it in the moment this week with your hot coffee,
ma'am. Okay. So let me tell y'all. So I posted this week. I went to Starbucks. Was it Monday morning? I think it was Monday morning.
No, it was when we were at. No, it was Wednesday, my dear.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I said it was Wednesday that day. Okay. So I grabbed the coffee from the lady, and my thought in my head was, now she know this coffee is too dang on hot. Like, I had an attitude. Like, I woke up with an attitude, and here I am mad at the Starbucks lady because my coffee is too hot. But in my defense, that coffee, I think they could control the temperature. Because the other, like, this coffee wasn't that hot.
This coffee was not very hot,
I could barely touch the cup. When she handed me the coffee, I had to make sure I was grabbing the koozie or whatever.
Did you have to use your nails to hang up? Couldn't you?
No, I couldn't. I couldn't. But no, I had to be sure I was touching a little koozie thing because it was so hot. I think it was too hot. But that still was not her fault. It was just... So I had a whole attitude with the Starbucks lady, like, all day long because my coffee was too hot.
You
I felt like
did
that
not
lady
have that all day long.
I didn't.
You switched.
I did in the moment.
In the moment, you even knew when you came to me. So you need to give yourself a little more credit.
I do, but I felt a way about the fact that was really my first thought. Like, I felt like a nutcase, like lunatic. Like,
no,
but that was Amy.
That's Amy. That's Amy, and then Amy sat down.
Amy, sit down, Amy. Yeah, because I was really, and it was, I don't know.
I want you to let that go. That's okay to have that knee-jerk reaction.
I want you to let that go. Don't therapy me, Cat. Don't therapy me, ma'am. I am going to let it go. But I did feel a way because y'all don't understand. I think you would have had to feel what I felt in that moment. It was rage. Like when I first grabbed the coffee, that in that instant, it was very quick. But it was rage.
That's
I'm like,
Amy.
why
That's fight,
she
flight,
hand me this hot coffee? Like,
that's fight, flight, or flight. Flight or flight.
And it was so funny because I had choir rehearsal that evening and I saw that my pastor had liked the post. And when I walked into choir rehearsal, he was like, hello. How are you? How are you feeling today? And I'm like, I'm good.
See, that's why I don't like posting. No, because then it changes. Because people, then it's the lens he's wearing and looking at you.
But I'm like, It was a moment. It passed. I got over it. But I think they had the temperature up higher that day.
Maybe. Yeah, this is not...
Starbucks workers, let us know. Can y'all control the temperature of the water or something? Maybe she gave me tea water for my coffee instead of coffee water. Maybe tea water is hotter than the coffee water.
I don't know.
Tea is always
hotter.
Yeah,
if there's any baristas in here, please enlighten us.
We went way left. And this show was going so long. But next is... what do you want the next few chapters of your story to look like? And the quote is, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. I love that. This one was really good for me today.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to the whole start over as many times as you need to.
Right.
And I also thought about, Dr. Phil saying not even God can change the past. So I just, to me it's just hope. It's hopeful.
It is, but I do have a question.
Sure.
Do you think start over as many times as you need to is too forgiving?
No.
Why?
Because we're human and we're going to fall down. And I think if at some point you now that person, that doesn't mean, obviously you want to, every time you start over with lessons from the past. You start over with maybe the finish line is different or the start line is different or whatever. I think you want to grow each time you start over, but
I think that's the clarification. I think that's the clarification that's needed, because I think that some people, depending on their level of emotional maturity or emotional intelligence, could hear, if they hear just start over as many times as you need to, I think that that's an incomplete statement that could give them the illusion that there's no growth required. There's no, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that it can leave people stagnant. So I feel like in my communication of this message, I want to make sure that it's clear, starting over again, however many times you need to, but with lessons from the past and with, you know what I'm saying, with that information and with that growth in place. Can you just start over at the same place all the time that would be perfectly fine if that's for you, but I don't believe that that's for anybody. I believe that we're all meant to grow, and you know what I mean, even if it's a little bit. So.
I do, and I believe that growth happens every time, no matter what. I can't think of a single person. I can think of lots.
Okay,
so that's your lens.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I can think of lots and I think it just kind of depends on I think it depends on the people that you know, and I think that with this, it's definitely a racial divide and also socioeconomic divide. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think lots of people will hear that and would basically, for lack of a better term, use that as an excuse. And I think it's important that,
all right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's important to be really careful about that in the community that I grew up in.
Okay. All right.
That's deep.
It is deep. It made me quiet and contemplative.
I love it when you do that instead of
It's so out of
quiet
character.
and contemplative. But yeah, I think so that is my lens. That's my lens, because you know what I mean, that's where I grew up, and in most cases those are the people with whom I have the closest associations. So
Right.
In the interest of, you know what I'm saying, wanting growth and wanting people to grow, it's I feel like it has to be quantified with additional information.
Right. And I guess for me, part of it is, you know, yeah, I was gonna say we are giving them the how. So, you know,
Right.
So, what's the word I'm looking for? Using emotional intelligence for it. I'm not feeling so good.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, us is almost done.
we are.
So let us know kind of what you think about you know what I'm saying, change. Exactly where is it that you're experiencing? What I would specifically like
that way.
is for if you guys wanted to think about and maybe answer the final question. If you want to answer it in the comments, if you want to I don't know, inbox it. If you're getting the key challenge and you want to respond to Kat.
Oh yeah, so if anybody wants to be a part of the key challenge, we'll post it in the thing, but it's 860-792-6224.
Yes. So you would just text key challenge to that number and you'll start getting the texts daily.
Just know that it's me. I'm the one sending it, and as I send it out, I send positive energy to each person, and you know,
It's
just
really
really
good. I love it. So just that last question was, what do you want the next few chapters of your story to look like? And the quote is, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. And of course, the key there is change. So just let us know what you think about it. Let us know your thoughts, and let us know how you want your next chapter to look like.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we'll see you guys next week, where I think we're going to start cliches. I really want to dig into that.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about cliches and why they work. All right. Talk to you guys next week. Have a good week.